Alright guys, we got some news of the new PlayStation 5. I'm a little bit late to this, but in case you guys haven't seen it blowing up on the internet, this is for you guys. So these are the main stuff you guys want to take away, and then it goes deeper dive into article from the Wired. So first details is it's backwards compatible with PS4 games. Don't know if it goes to PS3 games, but you know, some PS3 games did work on the PS4. So I'm assuming your whole library on your PlayStation 4 and whatever downloadable content you had on your PlayStation 4 from PlayStation 3 will be able to be played on PlayStation 5. So that's good. Don't know if it has disc yet. It supports 8K resolution, so Sony is preparing for the future. Right now, the future is 4K. 1080p is going on its way out. It's probably has like 1 to 3 more years, if 3 years left of 1080p, and then everything's going to be 4K standard HDR across the board. So they're preparing for the future. This console, I'm assuming Sony is expecting this console to last for another 10 years. 10 years from the being released, because 8K is pretty far in advance. I'm pretty sure 4K be around for another 5 to 8 years. Okay, so we also know the CPU is based on AMD Ryzen, the custom GPU based on AMD Radeon Navi with ray tracing support. So they do have ray tracing, and it's on AMD. I don't know how I feel about it. I always feel like AMD is a little bit behind on technology compared to NVIDIA. But, you know, AMD has been making a lot of improvements, and I have stock in AMD. So hopefully they sell a lot and my stock goes up. So I'm okay with it. And I have NVIDIA stock. It's probably bad to have both stocks, but I have both. Okay, SSD. So that means fast, no HDD drive. So you're gonna have quick load times, quick installation times, and everything's just gonna be moving a lot faster when you're getting your games installed and loading and all that good stuff. Now the downside with SSD means there's a limited storage. Usually SSD can't doesn't hold as much storage as HDD, and it's more expensive, more storage SSD has. So we have to see what the base is. It has to be at least 2 TB in my opinion, as games these days are growing around 50 to 80 gigabytes per game depending on the game, even higher if you include DLC Destiny. So hopefully it's at least 2 TB. Now it supports PSVR and physical media, so that does mean it does accept disc and won't be released this year. So that means Sony is gonna probably announce it at E3 this year, and then it's gonna be launched in holiday season next year. So we're looking at a 2020 release window. Here's some other stuff we know about it. It was in development for the past 4 years, and dev kits are being deployed. So that means so people are not developing games on the PS5 yet. That means dev kits are being deployed. That means Ubisoft, EA, Activision, all those companies have not been working on the PS5 spec yet, or because dev kits are being deployed, that means they don't have the hardware to even create the game yet. So we're not even looking at like high quality games in 2020, in my opinion. Yes, there's gonna be some games that gets launched, with release a new console, but remember how long it took for developers to get like the PS4 and Xbox One push the hardware to its maximum. It took them about 2 years after the consoles were released. Remember when Xbox One first came out and games were being shipped in 720p and not 1080p? It was 720p at 60 frame rates, Dead Rising 3 if I remember, and it was like the Xbox One had a 10% of its memory or its processing dedicated to the what's it called, PlayStation Connect, and they got rid of it. So we'll see how that goes, but I don't expect high quality games until 2022, where it's pushing the system to its max. Not saying we won't get good games between the launch day till 2020, 2022. I'm just saying it won't be perfected until then. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the story. If you guys just wanted those main details, you guys can click off. But if you guys want to go more details of how they talk about the console, then you can stick around. There's plenty of other videos you can watch of mine. Okay. Mark Scenery would like to get one of the things out right now. The video game console that Sony has spent on the past 4 years building is no mere upgrade. Just guys, I have a reading issue. I always struggle reading my whole life, so bear with me if I get stumbled a little bit. You have a good reason for thinking otherwise. Sony and Microsoft both extends the current console generation via a mid-cycle refresh with Xbox One, PlayStation 4 spawning mini sequels, the Xbox One X, and the PS4 Pro. The key question, Cerny says, is whether the console adds another layer of sorts of experience that you already have access to or allows fundamental changes in what a game can be. The answer in this case is the latter. That is what we're sitting here, secreted away in the conference room at Sony's headquarters in Foster City, California, where Cerny is finally detailed in the inner workings and as yet unnamed console will replace the PlayStation 4. If history in any guide, it would eventually be dubbed the PlayStation 5. For now, Cerny responds to the question and many others with a energetic smile. The next generation console, as he refers to repeatedly, won't be landing in stores anytime in 2019. A number of studios have been working with it, though Sony recently accelerated its deployment in dev kits so that game creators will have time they need to adjust to its capabilities. As he did with PlayStation 4, Cerny acted as a leading system architect for the coming system, integrated developers' wishes and his own gaming hopes for something much more revolution than evolution for the more than 90 million people who owns PlayStation 4. That is good news indeed. Sony's got a brand new box. A true generational shift tends to include a few fundamental adjustments of the console's CPU and GPU become more powerful, able to deliver previously unattainable graphical fidelity and visual effects. System memory increases in size and speed, and game files grow to match necessary larger downloads or higher capacity physical media like disk. PlayStation next generation console ticks also all the boxes starting with AMD chips a hard device, warning some alphabet soup follows. The CPU is based on the third generation AMD Ryzen's line and contain 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 microarchitecture. The GPU is a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family, will support ray tracing, a technique that models the travel of light and simulate complex interaction in 3D environments. While ray tracing is a staple Hollywood visual effects and is the beginning to warm its way into high processors, and NVIDIA recently announced the RTX line, no game console has been able to manage it yet. So what I liked about this is that if I read this right, the CPU has 8 cores, which is good. I think the current console generation PS4 and Xbox One has 4 cores. And I think I'm not sure the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X has 6 cores. But 8 cores is top-end gaming, in my opinion. I run an 8-core CPU, so I'm happy to hear that my current beastly gaming computer is to the current generation of the next generation console. That was a little confusing, but yes, basically I hope my gaming computer is good enough to match what the console is or better than the upcoming console. Ray tracing immediate benefit is largely visual because it mimic the way light bounces object to object in a scene reflective surface, refraction through glass, liquid, and render much more accurate. Okay, we don't need to know what ray tracing is, since we do know what it is. The AMD chip also includes a custom unit of 3D audio that Cerny thinks will redefine sound in a video game. As gamer, he says it's been a little bit of a frustration that audio does not change too much between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. With the next console, the dream is to show the dramatic difference in audio experience, simply significant amounts of hardware horsepower. So during their PS5 reveal, I'm going to assume they're going to just show you the different sound in the audio of the PlayStation 5 to PlayStation 4, and they're going to simulate during the E3 press conference, and they're going to have a separate YouTube video tech demoing it. The results certainly says will make you feel immersed. The game sounds come from you from above, from behind, and from the sides. While the effect will require no external hardware, it will work with TV speaker and visual surround sound. He allows the gold standard be headphone audio. One of the words currently used to describe audio may be familiar. Virtuality presence. Okay. PSVR. I won't go in details. Okay. So the new CPU, new GPU ability to develop. Okay, this is VR. Okay, game set Red Dead Redemption 2 clocked horsepower 99 gigabytes on the PlayStation 4. Dude, that's 100 gigs for Red Dead Redemption 2. Oh, wow. Loading can take a minute with travels, fast travel. Okay, even opening doors can take over a minute. Starting in fall 2015, Cerny began talking to developers about what they want next generation. He heard it time and time again. I know it's impossible, but can we have a SSD? Okay. So we're having a faster hard drive. PlayStation 4 Pro exclusive. Spider-Man, Crash Bandicoot. Now takes less than 15 seconds. Would take 15 seconds to load. Now it takes 0.8 seconds. That's great. Okay, 8Ks. We already know about all of this. I wish they gave the specs. Okay, at the moment, Sony won't cop the details SSD. Who makes it? So we don't know which company's going to make the SSDs. Whether you utilize the PCIe 4.0, which is the fastest SSD in the market. There's different, though SSD is fast, there's different levels of PCIe that's fastest. It's kind of like a USB 2.0 and a USB 3.0. The speed is drastically different of the transfer rate. So if he says it's gonna be that fast, I hope it's a PCI 4.0. I think Sony could get away with the 3.0, but if they really want this console to be spectacular, they're gonna have to lose money on console. They're gonna have to break even and go with the PCI 4.0. I mean, the idea of Sony and Microsoft selling console is not really making money. I remember the Xbox One, their initial one, they only made like $12 for every sale of new Xbox One they sold, and PlayStation was like $20. So I think if whoever wants to win this upcoming console war between Xbox, PlayStation, as well as Google with their Stadia, they might need to take a hit and upgrade the console to the highest thing. Because the reason why I think the PlayStation 4 beat out the Xbox One, because the marketing for Xbox was horrendous back on the release of the Xbox One. And PlayStation 4 nailed it with their unveiling and everything. And also the console specs was just superior than the Xbox One. Like, if you're gonna buy a brand new generation console, if you're not thinking about the exclusives, what Sony has and what Microsoft has, or what your friends has, you always go for the higher superior console with the better specs that can last for later games in the near the end of its console cycle. Granted that there's going to be, like PlayStation Pro, so PlayStation 5 Pro, which is going to be, the mid buffer between console cycles, and the Xbox One S and the Xbox One X. Just saying. But when the initial hype of a new console is always the launch day or the launch year of the console. So they need to go all out. I don't care, Microsoft or PlayStation. If Microsoft want to win the next console generation, they need to go the extra that Sony is not willing. Like, if Sony goes to a PCI 3.0 and SSD 1.5 terabytes and Xbox goes 2 terabytes and a PCI 4 and a better RAM memory, Xbox is gonna win, and that's my opinion. And also the exclusives too. That does help in it. As you notice, all the hardware surely is in its chat other features. Nor you hear much about the console E3 June for the first time. Sony won't be holding a keynote, but few things. Okay, so they won't go too much. So let me know what you guys think. Does this excite you of the specs so far? What we know on the new PlayStation 5. I'm gonna get a PlayStation 5. I'm gonna get an Xbox One. No, Xbox. I don't know what I even call this Xbox. Xbox. I don't know. Can't even call it Xbox 360 plus of that. Can't call it Xbox 2. Maybe they might go for the traditional route. Xbox. You got the Xbox, the Xbox 360, the Xbone, and then Xboned 2, I guess. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. All right, guys. Bye.